Well, guys, it's been a fun season. We've had a lot of fun these last few months, and it's finally here. Unfortunately, here is the day. It is the final episode of the first season of Out of Turn 4. I'm Brian here. Welcome, everyone. So on the palette for today's show, we're going to talk NASCAR at Phoenix. We will then talk about some of the silly season news, including the Andretti Autosport lineup. We also just got breaking news in. Of course, I'm recording just a few hours before the show. There's breaking news regarding the Clash. And then, of course, a driver says no to IndyCar. That's all coming your way. But first, let's start it off with the Truck Series at Phoenix. Chandler Smith is the winner of the race, and Ben Rhodes went on to claim the title after taking a position away late from Zane Smith, not Chandler Smith. This is Ben Rhodes' first career title. It is also Chandler Smith's second win of the year and his second career victory. Huge for Ben Rhodes, of course. I'm not a huge fan of Ben Rhodes, but he earned the title fair and square. Again, just not a fan of Ben Rhodes personally. After last season, you can go back to Sports Collaboration Network and you can check out why I'm not a fan of Ben Rhodes. I just don't think he's a great racer to begin with. But good for him. Good win for Chandler Smith to end the season. Chandler Smith, he's worked hard all year, and again, his second win. He's kind of been in the shadows of John Hunter Nemechek all year. It's just a shame as well that John Hunter didn't win it, because John Hunter was the strongest guy all year, and unfortunately to not come away with it, it's sad. So, hopefully next season he will be back in the title hunt. I have a feeling Chandler Smith is going to have a breakout season, but of course when we come back in February, we'll discuss all that here on Out of Turn 4, so you'll want to stay tuned for that, of course. On the Xfinity side, boy, did we ever get a surprise on the Xfinity side. And it really shouldn't be a surprise, but it is based on the results of the race. Daniel Hemrick is the winner at Phoenix. You heard me right. Daniel Hemrick, the guy who couldn't win in the top 3 series of NASCAR to save his life, he finally gets through, gets his first career win, and on the biggest stage, arguably, in motorsports right now, the Championship 4. He is your NASCAR Xfinity Series season number, or 2020 season champion. I don't know why I said season number. But anyway, he is the champion. He got to do a backflip, one we've all been waiting for years and years and years. And ironically, and I saw this floating on Twitter, I can't verify the truth behind it, but it is on the same day a few years ago where Carl Edwards ran his last ever, or won his last ever race at Texas Motor Speedway. So, congratulations. I'm happy for Daniel Hemrick. No guy deserved it more than he did. Okay, he was, to me, wrongfully let go by Richard Childress Racing, but at the same time, though, Richard Childress benefited from it because they got Tyler Reddick now. But Daniel Hemrick, though, he didn't deserve to get let go. That much I could argue. But glad to see him finally break through. He had, I believe, 10 runner-ups in his career before his first big win. He had a lot of top 5s, top 10s this year. Imagine if he turned half of those into wins. He'd be right in the thick of it with Austin Cindric and with AJ Allmendinger, who should have very well been up front in the title run, but it looks like Colleague didn't do too hot in that race, and it's unfortunate for them, but they'll be back next year, of course, with AJ Allmendinger and Daniel Hemrick. Hemrick is going over to Colleague Racing, which is huge. But again, congratulations to Daniel Hemrick. When I saw he won the title, I was happy for him, honestly. I was hoping Allmendinger, but I will take Daniel Hemrick any day. Again, he needed that win. And again, he didn't exploit the system. He's been a front runner all year. He just hasn't turned it into wins. If he had turned it into wins, he would be legitimate. Like, he would have probably been the top threat for the championship. So just want to throw that out there for all of you who might be saying, oh, he didn't deserve this. But I think generally everything I've seen is that it's a fan favorite win and a fan favorite championship. To be honest, of that championship 4, I don't think anybody was really hated in that championship 4. I think everybody likes... I think Austin Cindric's okay with fans. I think AJ Allmendinger is very loved by the fans, and of course so is Daniel Hemrick, for that matter. And then the 4th one, my goodness, I can't even think of who else made the championship 4 over there. Noah Gragson. Other than Noah Gragson, everyone else was generally a fan favorite, to my knowledge. But anyway, good run for the Xfinity Series. Probably the best race of the weekend from everything I've heard. Boy, does Kyle Larson owe his pit crew a very fancy dinner, because his pit crew helped him. I mean, he won the race, but his pit crew played a huge part in his victory on Sunday and the championship. Kyle Larson is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. It was his 10th win of the year, Hendrick's most dominating season since 2007, where Jimmy won over 10 races and won the title. And again, Kyle Larson's first career championship and a comeback of all comebacks, essentially. I don't think anybody expected Kyle Larson to ever come back into racing after what happened. If we talked about 15 months ago, I don't think anybody would have expected Kyle Larson to come back. I thought for sure, I don't want to get political here, but I think I have to a little bit. So indulge me just a little, and please do not assume this as taking sides of any party here, but we know how cancel culture is. I'm going to try to make it as neutral as I can. We know how cancel culture is. And what Kyle Larson said on iRacing, very well should have ended his career. I don't think it should have, but based on the societal standards that are today, he probably shouldn't have been racing this year. I don't want to call this a victory against cancel culture, because that's not what this is. This is a guy who got a second chance, and he made the most of it. So, Kyle Larson, for all intents and purposes, no sponsorship. No one wanted to back him. Chevrolet, to my knowledge, will not back him. And now he just won him a title. Okay? He went on the world's biggest redemption. I don't want to say FU tour, but a redemption tour. And he made the most of this opportunity in his first season with Hendrick Motorsports, and he gets the job done. Again, no political stuff here. But again, he got his second chance, and he made the most of it so far. Congratulations to Kyle Larson. I'm actually happy to see him win the title, because at the end of the day, he was dominant, and I knew if he got on a team like this, he could put up some big numbers, because look at what he was doing at Chip Ganassi Racing, a mid-tier NASCAR team. By the way, thank you to Chip Ganassi for everything you've done in the NASCAR side of things, for being a part of it. It's been a real fun ride watching your team. But what I will say is, no one would have pegged Kyle Larson as someone to win a title at Chip Ganassi Racing. I think that's very fair to say right there. No one would have pegged him as a champion if he ran at Chip Ganassi. Maybe a fringe round of 8. Maybe, just maybe, a championship 4, but no one would have probably had him winning it. Okay? I think Ganassi probably could have gotten him close, but I just don't think they could have gotten him a title. That's all I will say. So for Kyle, it's great to see him racing for a good team. I know, again, many thought Stewart-Haas. Then the Hendrick rumors were swirling, and sure enough, the Hendrick rumors were true. I mean, I would have been happy to see Chase Elliott win, but, you know, at the end of the day, though, this was Kyle Larson's championship, and it was his to lose. And if he had lost this, it kind of would have been devastating, because, I mean, again, I'm a Chase Elliott fan. I'm repping the shirt, even though he lost the championship. But, you know, to be honest, no one was as dominant as Kyle Larson all year. I mean, Denny Hamlin had said, oh, well, if I don't win or Kyle Larson doesn't win, it's a sham. Well, no, you didn't deserve to be there either, Denny, okay? You ran well in the points, but you didn't really win anything until the playoffs started, and then you won like 2 or 3 races. If anything, maybe you should have made it in. Chase should have made it in. But the thing is, I think this is the first time. I mean, you got to think maybe had Bowman advanced into the round of 8, maybe he would have had a shot at it. But ultimately, everyone in this championship 4 earned their way in. And no one that was excluded, really, you could argue. I mean, you could argue Ryan Blaney's case. You could argue Alex Bowman's case. But at the end of the day, would it have mattered? Because Kyle Larson was just so dominant. I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling on here, but congratulations to Kyle Larson. He's a champion, well deserved. But overall, I'm very pleased with the championship weekend. I mean, Ben Rhodes and Daniel Hemrick. I mean, Ben Rhodes wasn't much of a surprise. Daniel Hemrick was a huge surprise. That I will say. Daniel Hemrick was the biggest surprise of the weekend because I expected this to be another Cindric and Allmendinger battle to the finish. But it didn't pan out that way. And, but I expected Hemrick. The problem is with Hemrick, you expect him to blow it. But he didn't. And it's great because, again, nothing but love for Daniel Hemrick. And then, of course, Kyle Larson was the expected champion at the end of the day. So, again, I think, you could argue against Kyle Larson, but, I mean, every format probably would have had him as the champion. That's all I'm going to leave it at. Let's move on to the silly season news, and there's just a little bit I'd like to touch up on. Devlin Defrancesco, he is completing the Andretti Autosport lineup, joining the Andretti Steinbrenner Racing entry in the number 29. He will be the 4th car under the Andretti banner. Unfortunately in racing, what can I say? Money talks. Racing is different from any other sport in the world, where the money talks, not so much. I'm not saying that, I want to be clear. I'm not saying DeFrancesco is not talented. He should do very well at Andretti, honestly. And, he adds to what's going to be an interesting rookie class. Should he have gotten the ride over Kirkwood? I don't think so by any means. He shouldn't have gotten the ride over Kirkwood. And that's kind of wrong, but my guess is DeFrancesco must have had more funding, which allowed him to get the ride over Kirkwood. And unfortunately for Kirkwood, as I look at the team chart for next year, I expect Dalton Kellett's going to return to AJ Foyt. Probably Calderon's going to be in the 14, even on just a part-time basis. It'll be her, and then, of course, Kimball and Hildebrand might fill out the other races. Team Penske's going to a 3-car team. No one on this grid is really looking to expand their team. Jimmy Johnson's going to run the Indy 500, to my knowledge. It's not been confirmed, but every sign just about is pointing in that direction. So Tony Kanaan will drive a 5th car for Ganassi at the 500. But again, looking on down the list, I just don't see really any spots that could give Kirkwood a full-time entry. I expect him at the Indy 500, though. That much I will say. I expect he will be at the Indy 500. But again, I just don't see any way he's going to run it. It's unfortunate because he had a very dominating season with David Malukas. Maybe, just maybe, they both end up at Dale Coyne Racing. One of them in the Vassar Sullivan entry and the other in the Rick Ware entry. But chances of that happening for both of them are pretty slim. I've heard Takuma Sato's name floating around the Rick Ware entry. But what would be good with the Rick Ware entry, assuming Nurtec returns, Nurtec would bring a lot of money in. So ultimately, if Takuma says, I'm done, I don't want to run anything but the Indy 500, just per se, then it would open up a door for Kirkwood. And to be honest, anyone who ends up in that ride can be competitive. It showed with Roman Grosjean. But again, just going to be interesting because I think that's really his only shot to go IndyCar racing, sadly. And it's unfortunate because, Malukas will get his shot, I'm pretty sure. But Kirkwood deserved his shot. Kirkwood, I'm sorry, as the Indy Lights champion, he earned his shot. It's just like what I say about the Xfinity Series champions. They deserved their shot too. Daniel Hemrick probably deserves his chance to run Cup again. Cindric earned his right to go to the NASCAR Cup Series. Despite what anyone might protest or say, he's earned it. So, and Malukas, in his own right, has earned his way into the IndyCar Series. He's earned his way onto the grid. So, we can argue all day about this, but I don't know. To me, did Devlin Defrancesco earn it? It's just, I wonder, I wish him well. Trust me, I'm glad he got the ride. I'm glad he got his chance in the series, but over Kirkwood, putting money aside, I just don't know if I would have put him in the 29 over Kirkwood. Just saying. Moving forward, though, this is the breaking news on out of Turn 4 this week. So, breaking news on out of Turn 4 this week. Sorry, something happened with my OBS. Anyway, the Clash details have been released for 2022, and it doesn't look like there's any eligibility requirement based on everything I've seen. It'll be 40 cars that'll be allowed to enter into the Busch Light Clash at Daytona, or at LA Coliseum. So, practice and qualifying will be on Saturday for the 40 cars. At that point, after the 40 cars have been decided, position 1 will be in Heat 1, position 2 will be in Heat 2, position 3 will be in Heat 3, position 4 will be in Heat 4, and then basically, 5 and 1, 6 and 2, 7 and 3, 8 and 4, all the way down the list, basically, if you get where I'm going. So then they will have 4 heat races. Let me just double check the details. I had them on here. So again, there'll be 25 lap heat races set by qualifying. At that point, the top 5 will advance into their positions, or top 4 will advance into their positions for the race. The Heat 1 winner will be on the pole, so on and so forth. Then the rest will be elevated into an LCQ. The top 3 will, in each LCQ, will take positions 17 through 22. And then, of course, there will be a 23rd spot, and that'll be based on the 2021 points. Interesting. Interesting is the word for the Clash. I'm interested to see what's going to happen before I even comment. Of course, that's when we will be back with the next episode of Out of Turn 4. But I'm excited to see who will enter. I imagine maybe some of the new teams might be a little skeptical. But this should be a fun Clash, honestly. If it's anything like some of these new tracks that they brought onto the schedule this year for the NASCAR Cup Series, this Clash should be very interesting, to say the least. Some tells me, though, it might be like Bristol Dirt, where it's just going to be havoc. It's going to be a mess. That's just my opinion right there. Of course, the Clash will be 150 laps. I didn't see anything about stages, so I'm sure it's just going to be 150 laps straight through. I'm ready to see what's going to happen. I'm telling you, I'm already excited for the 2022 NASCAR season. This is going to be a good year. Obviously, the number placement we're going to just have to live with, but everything else, though, about it just looks interesting so far. So, can't wait for this. Anyway, and of course, the LCQs will be, or the heat races will be 25 laps. The LCQs will be 50 laps. And those will be on Sunday afternoon, I believe, on the main Fox network. And then the only thing that's weird, though, is why would you put the heat races in the LCQ on Fox and then move the main event over to FS1? That's, to be honest, if I'm going to question anything about it, I'm going to question that. Just poor planning by Fox. Why couldn't the main event be on Fox and then the LCQ and the heat races be on FS1? All I'm going to ask, I mean, I get animation domination on Sundays. There's no football at that point. That's, I believe, Pro Bowl weekend. And to my knowledge, ESPN has rights to the Pro Bowl, so Fox can't cover it. So you knew I had to pull something out to complain about. Come on. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens, to say the least. Can't wait for February now. Man, never thought I'd wish the holidays by. Alright, anyway, one final story before we go on our break. Hulkenberg has announced he will not run in the NTT IndyCar Series, despite being highly recruited to come over to the IndyCar side from F1. He listed it as personal reasons. I guess if you want to stick to either being a reserve driver or a back marker in F1, good for you. I mean, if it's funding wise, I mean, F1's more expensive than IndyCar. I don't know, something just doesn't add up there. I didn't read the full article of why he didn't go over. But just, I don't know. To me, I don't know. I would rather run an IndyCar. I mean, if I was in F1 and I wasn't getting anywhere, I think I would much rather go to F1 or IndyCar at that point. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Just gonna say that. Maybe it's just me. But makes no sense. Alright, that's all we got for today. And it doesn't look like they're going to put up any safety nets either for the race. I don't know. I'm reading that. Going back to the Clash, by the way, it doesn't look like they're going to put up any safety nets. And no pit road. Sorry, I'm reading through some of Bob Pockrass's questions on the breaking news. I know I'm all over the place today. But alright, anyway, we want to thank you guys for watching this final episode of the season of Out of Turn 4. Again, we are going to be on hiatus maybe till January. We might do a 24-hour Daytona special here on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment. If not, we will be back in February to cover the Clash, and then we will kick off season number 2 of Out of Turn 4 here. I want to thank all of you who have watched Out of Turn 4 so far this season. I want to thank, Zach, of course, who is no longer a part of Tinkle Sports, but for allowing us to put this show on and for helping us with this show on occasion. And again, I want to thank all you viewers. Again, I didn't want to take a break this winter, but with no racing on, very little silly season news coming out at this point, and just, again, with my busy schedule, my winters are pretty crazy, guys. My winters are not lay back and really don't have much to do. I mean, I have a lot to do in the winters, so unfortunately, that's kind of what played into the decision to take a break. But again, we will be back probably in January, maybe February. Follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. I'll probably put up some videos regarding silly season on there, so that way you guys can hear my comments. I hope to hear your comments in the comments below, or in the comments of our videos through social media this off season, or even just follow me on Twitter at Tinkle_BHummel. I'll be pretty active on there as well, I'm sure. But those are ways you can kind of get to us from Out of Turn 4 here. Like I said, this has been a fun time, guys. And again, it's not over. We will be back. But again, just timing and whatnot, that's kind of what played into the decision to not bring back the show for the winter months. And again, for those who don't know, I also coach basketball, so that's kind of what also played into it. But anyway, a reminder once again, don't forget to donate below, noshave.org/team/the Tinkle Group. That's your way to help us tinkle on cancer this month of November. Good cause, great people doing the no shave thing. Alright. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. Thank you guys so much once again. We will see you probably in January or February. I hope you enjoy your holidays. Thanks to all the troops who have served, and we will be back in a few months. Till then, goodbye everyone.